Good morning everyone and welcome back again to second video of the day here at the Daily Gaming News at the new Byte. We want to talk about Stadia by Google and what that really is. So let's just jump right into it. As you can see here, this is the landing page basically for Stadia. And Stadia is like a gaming platform supported in a cloud. What that means is very simple, just like shown in these points here. Game where you want when you want to play across multiple devices, including laptops, desktops, and select phones and tablets. Basically, every device could be used to play these games on. You basically just need a Chromecast or a feature set that has this function. Even a Chrome browser can just stream the game. So if your device has a Chrome browser, it's very likely that it can also play games via Stadia. The demo they had yesterday as you can see in this live demo from the GDC Developers Conference, actually this is functional on every device they had on stage. You can have a Pixelbook, which definitely does not have the computing power for that. This is rendered on a server and streamed then to this device. But you can also go over to your phone with a connected Bluetooth controller, for example. You can just very easily play the game there without any problems, really. That's the coolest thing about it. It's just like, I just want to play my phone stand now because, for example, I have to leave the living room and just want to go still continue playing this game in my own room. Who knows? Then, of course, also on the PC, it's working as you can see here. And we have, where it is a tablet, of course, also same function, just like a mobile phone. Or if you just want to unplug it there and connect it to a TV, yes, even a TV can use this feature. So basically, with this service, you can play on any screen, which is halfway modern at least, and then just like jumping in and play the game. Actually very cool, I think. Of course, this is not that new. You want to know, of course, what is the deal with it? What's the idea behind it? Well, there's lots of computing power and specs talk about it, of course. I'm not going too much into detail here, but Richard Leadbetter, of course, from Digital Foundry here at Eurogamer, has the best idea about what is really up with the technique. And there's a very lengthy article talking about the tech and server structure behind this. So look up this article, which I'll link in the description down below, of course, for you, and check it out yourself. It's really in detail. On the surface level, what's the most interesting thing for you, at least? Okay, so there's different hardware, and basically this is elastic. What this means is it can just be expanded upon the user's needs or the game's needs. And what's interesting is this, for example, Stadia has in us already a very large sized array of companies and developers that they are working together with, for example, also with Unreal Engine. And who here has known issues with games that run on Unreal Engine and their computer's not performing that well and having halfway a bad experience even because of low frame rates, for example. While with Stadia, they can just basically spec the game towards this on the server side, and the game will always run as the developers intended. You're not really depending on the limitations of an Xbox One console, for example. So that could be a very interesting way of evolving games just by making them larger than any console or PC could ever run it, maybe. They've also been talking about teraflops, of course, and computing power. Basically, the server side will use AMD graphics, and the core is rated at 10.7 teraflops, which is huge compared to the 4 point something on PlayStation 4. And I think even 6.4, I think on the Xbox One X. It's definitely like a lot more. And what that basically means is just there's lots of computing power already available in that PC itself. But to be fair, I think my PC also here has lots of flops. Again, what's also cool is, of course, is the cloud advantage. The storage space is basically unlimited. Of course, there will be limitations set by the plan. You know, how much you will pay for that. But still, in theory, you just don't need to buy any extra hardware. I upgraded my PlayStation 3 Super Slim, for example, which only had like 12 gigabytes of space. And I put in for 30 years an SSD now. At least I have like 240. No issue with that on cloud servers, of course. And even load times will have increased vastly. As there's a demo, for example, here with the beginning screen of Assassin's Creed Odyssey on the Xbox One X, you've been loading 17 seconds longer than on Google Stadia, as you can see here, 6.58 seconds versus 24.44 seconds. And I'm not going too much into the details here, but just like, see, okay, there's more than that. This is a boost in performance, load times and everything, of course, so lots of that is really cool about it. Of course, there's also new ways of playing. Integration with YouTube, as it is a Google service, of course, is very highly surprised. And it's interesting seeing how on YouTube, for example, if you see a streamer play a game, they will know if the game is properly linked. Also, always be a button where you can just say, hey, play right away. And from YouTube, for example, you will be taken over to Stadia and just load up the game. Again, there was no mention yet of the pricing model or anything, when it will come out. They said it will come out this year in the consumer version, so who knows when exactly that will be. Hopefully we'll learn more about it in the summer. But yeah, basically the two functions here. Just play right away if you see a game running on the internet. Maybe this button could be integrated also on other services, who knows? Maybe on Facebook or something, or like Twitch. But definitely it will come out to YouTube, and if you see a game stream there, you can just click the button and jump over to Stadia and play the game right away. This is another thing they said, the games that you have in that program will always be updated all the time, and of course ready to be played right away because of the huge advantage of the cloud. There's also a different thing, Google Stadia will also allow crowd play, which basically allows for randoms to join up in your queue. So if you want to say, hey, let's play a round of Battle Royale with my viewers, if there was a game that would allow that, for example, you could just say, hey, I'm in this match, 98 people can join me in the queue, we're all just going to play one big round of Battle Royale. I had things about this already talked about in Twitter, so follow me at @houses, of course, if you want to. But I said, hey, you know how often it happens that, for example, streamers get DDoS just because they joined a lobby where their IP was sadly visible to the other players through different means, and that was, of course, the reason why very often streamers have to use VPNs and everything just to be safe. Well, with Stadia, also there's another function here, because not only can you have integration to YouTube and everything, but also while you're playing the game, the server can also host a copy of the game stream that's sent to you to YouTube, so you always have a backup recording in 4K 60 FPS really on YouTube if you want. Almost lossless quality, I would say, probably, because they are all just running in their own server network. And of course with that you can probably also enable streaming, just need to host your microphone back again upwards to the cloud. But if you have a PC, that should be much of a problem. There's services like Shadow, for example, that allow that already, where there's like a sort of PC in the cloud, and you just plug in your microphone in your local PC, stream that upwards to that cloud, and from the cloud on you stream out into the world, the best quality possible. And as we know, of course, from different live streams, YouTube already has always the ability to downgrade the quality, for example, from 4K 60 FPS to 1080p or even 360p, depending on what the viewer needs instead of what the hoster can provide. So even if, for example, you have a average download rate like 3 megabytes and this is only enough to play the game, you don't have any more bandwidth to actually stream the game up again. So with that, of course, solution, you don't need to think about it anymore, because the cloud is already streaming the game to the services and you only need to play the game. That's what your bandwidth is actually used for. Although talking about bandwidth also, apparently Stadia needs like 15 megabits per second, which is quite a lot for some spaces. I know at least on average the German household here does not have that. Like on average is I think a little bit below that. But certainly, of course, hopefully, with ongoing progress, the internet will of course be getting better and better everywhere. So hopefully everyone can have access to this. For example, with 5G networks, But still, this is not like without any limitations. If you have not the best download rate, you definitely can't play it. So there's really a high demand, of course, on that side. My only worry about this playing instantly thing is actually, what if I want to play the game in an older update? There's like single player games sometimes where new updates break the game, or where you just know, maybe this one patch has a certain thing going on, for example, for speedrunners, which will most likely not play on the cloud. They will probably also want to have the lowest input rates and everything, but who knows, just like casual speedruns, for example, that just want to try and play the game as fast as possible without necessarily aiming for a world record. They probably won't need that, and sometimes even have the demand of needing a specific patch for some tricks to work. Who knows? It's an interesting alternative to just local gaming, but definitely sometimes I think it's not that easy. And there's also said here, high-speed internet connection required, also in the official works here on the website. And talking about downloads and uploads and everything, there's also issues with latency, of course. Playing on the Pixelbook on a Google internet connection, the site saw through frame rates. Talking about Digital Foundry here. It also took some latency measurements. Here's how it compared to gaming on other platforms. Google Stadia had a delay of 166 milliseconds, whereas Google Project Stream has 179 milliseconds. PC at 30 FPS, 112 milliseconds, and PC at 60 FPS, 79 milliseconds. And even for Xbox One X, it had 145 milliseconds delay. Doesn't sound like much, but in some aspects of gaming, it is definitely something that you can feel. It's just like ever so slightly disconnect between your game inputs and what you see on the screen. And just imagine how the performance is on a bad network. This was like directly inside of Google to the Google servers. Of course, they have like the best setup possible for this to showcase it to journalists and everyone. So be sure that these numbers can go even worse over time with a much less good internet connection. But of course, there's also hardware coming to this, because Google Stadia announced at least 3 different color sets of the same model of a controller. The Google Stadia controller, as you can see here. There's a Google Assistant button right in the middle. If you want to answer questions like, hey Google, how do I solve this puzzle that I'm at right now? And they showed, for example, a Tomb Raider puzzle right on stream. And there's also, of course, a sharing functionality and other options available. Certainly better what we saw from the leaks a few days ago. Very smooth design of the controller, an actual D-pad, not just like a round plate, and 2 thumbsticks in the middle, not like offset to the left side like an Xbox controller, which is something that some people prefer, some people don't. I'm personally more on the side, I like my sticks in the middle both, so certainly think this design is very smooth and not as bad as what we've seen so far. Here's another cool thing about the Stadia website though. You can actually punch in the Konami code, so up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, and it's going to show you a model of the controller here. Cool, right? Actually turn around, see a little bit more. So you have the average triggers here with a little offset to the side, very round buttons. And a person like actually this white controlling scheme with like accents only in orange and a little bit of black here. And of course an actual controller port for your microphone to put in right away. Most likely will be USB-C to charge this controller. And what's cool about this controller is actually this controller will connect directly to the Google Stadia server. So you have the least input lag to Google Stadia. And this Konami code is actually also being seen on the stream here. So yeah, it's definitely a very interesting history-linked Easter egg. As the last bit of news actually, while the Google Stream test last year was only up to 1080p, yes, the launch version of Google Stadia will support 4K 60 FPS and even HDR streams. But in the future, they want to go even higher with up to 8K resolution and 120 FPS. Of course, this will need much more bandwidth, but it's certainly not bad. And just to mention it again, there's lots of middleware partners here, like Havoc Physics, Audio Connect Wise, RAD, Fmod, Crybear. And of course, the server farms that they have here, of course, it's Google. It's one of the largest ones available for the servers. So with like 7,500 edge nodes locations globally. And of course, it will use the Global Edge network. Obviously, I think this is very cool, but there's one last news around this, and then we're done with today. Google announced a new first-party game studio led by Jade Raymond. We talked about how Jade Raymond is joining Google as a vice president. We were not sure what exactly that is, but she's now leading actually a studio inside of Google Stadia service. The Google's first party will reimagine the new generation of games and will also be working with external developers to make all of the bleeding-edge Google technology you've seen today available to partner studios big and small. Stadia games and entertainment will be comprised of multiple studios, Raymond said. The team will also work with external developers to bring the games to Stadia. So far announced are Ubisoft, id Software, and Q Games. With id Software especially, they confirmed Doom Eternal will be on Google Stadia. So if you're worried like, oh, can I actually run Doom Eternal? Once Google Stadia is live, they'll also have Doom Eternal there right away. So that's nice, I guess. So congratulations again to Jade Raymond. I'm very excited to see what will come out of this new partnership. And if you want to develop right away, also in Unreal Engine right now, there's support given for Google Stadia. So if you have Unreal Engine and are working with it, you can jump on it right away and be ready once Stadia comes in. The website for developers also is stadia.dev, so jump on there and see how you can contribute your game to Google Stadia. One last bit of news, there's actually a very cool demo here where they just scanned artwork and used the colors to map out the color scheme of a game, and it worked fantastically with so many different even games. Like they had a Pac-Man simulation running, Starry Night. This is one of the very great things that you can do apparently, thanks to the power of cloud. Alright guys, and that has been everything that I know so far about Google Stadia. Interesting numbers. We don't know when this will actually release. We only know it's this year. We don't know the pricing yet. It will probably be a service like a subscription model, and I'm very sure there will be tiers to it. I can't think of it like the Netflix of gaming. And of course, there's also other services running around that thing. We just saw last week at Inside Xbox how Xbox wants to play xCloud to the service and to the people out there with the basically same goal, just with the Microsoft and Xbox family there. So how much this will evolve actually in the next generation of gaming, who knows? I think consoles will never die, just like gaming PCs. But certainly for many people who have at least an internet connection, things like xCloud and Stadia are certainly a way to go and making gaming more accessible to more people out there. Thanks for watching, guys. That has been the news. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.